Module 5, Part 3, Middle Altitude Clouds. We're talking about clouds at an elevation about 6,500 feet to 23,000 feet in elevation. So they're right in the middle of my elevation set. And we're talking about two types, altocumulus and altostratus. Now, I forgot to mention, cirrus clouds, the stuff in the uppermost, the high altitude clouds, are never the ones that are raining physically on you. Any water that is dropped or liquid that is pulled down to the surface of the earth from those high clouds in precipitation form will actually re-evaporate before they ever touch the ground. And altocumulus clouds seldom have precipitation touch the clouds or touch the ground, but it has happened. More likely, both of these types might precipitate down, but they're actually going to drop the moisture down into the stratus part, the lower altitude clouds, and allow for the formation of clouds in those locations. So that's the more likely thing that'll happen. So altocumulus clouds, cumulus once again is puffy, these are in the middle, and when they appear in the sky, they really block out a lot of sunshine. These are your really dark gray days. These are the days where it's truly dark and it looks like it's about to rain, and that's probably pretty true. If you have an altocumulus cloud in the sky, so you have those puffy gray clouds, and they happen to roll in pretty quickly, and then you kind of feel the humidity. So you'll see the clouds kind of formulate, and then you'll feel the temperature get a little warmer. You know what I'm talking about. It gets a little warmer, and it gets a little hot and sticky. You can pretty much note that you're about 3 hours out from some major rain. This is heavy, heavy rain, maybe even a thunderstorm as it's coming through. So you kind of have this natural tell. And you'll know when you're only about 20 minutes out from the thunderstorm, because that's when the wind current will pick up. So this is all very easy indicators to other weather events because they're precursors. They're telling me what's happening in the atmosphere around me. They're telling me that the atmosphere is very, very humid to be able to condense, right? So I have this natural condensing of all of this warm, moist air, and I'm taking all of my liquid water and I'm putting it back into liquid or even solid. Sometimes they're ice crystals and they melt on the way down. Talk about that in precipitation next module, but getting there. Altostratus, this is another one that creates a gray day, but not nearly as dark a day as altocumulus will. These will create that haze over the sun, so not a halo. You won't get the ring around the sun. This creates that haze on the sun. A lot of times this atmosphere will actually be precipitating on itself. So altostratus clouds are actually raining a little in the upper atmosphere, but it's never touching the ground. And when I see this truly hazy look, that's actually what's occurring. It's doing a process called virga, where it's actually raining down a little bit and then it's evaporating and reforming the cloud in the upper atmosphere, never touching the surface of the earth. And it creates these hazy things. That's also what I call water sun. If you've ever heard that term, that's what we're talking about, is this process. Low clouds. Low clouds are anything at 6,500 feet down. And this can be my nimbostratus, stratocumulus, and stratus clouds. Nimbostratus, these are dark gray. They look wet. They look puffy. They look like they're ready to rain on you. They're often something that will bring in heavy, heavy showers, but for short amounts of time. So they're the heavy rain that eventually rains itself out, and it's all done. So this is kind of like my afternoon rainstorm cloud. Stratocumulus, these are lumpy, puffy clouds. They're the ones that create those pretty ones that you think of the bright blue sky behind it with the puffy cloud in the middle. And when I see stratocumulus clouds, I actually know that it's going to be a really nice day. I don't have to expect any rain when I see this sort of cloud condition. I know that I'm going to have a nice, good weather day. And finally, stratus clouds. These are sheet clouds. Once again, they're the ones that don't have that big puffy appearance, but more like that thin, wispy light appearance as they go through, and they almost resemble like a slightly lower atmosphere fog, but not one that's touching the surface of the Earth, because if a stratus cloud is touching the surface of the Earth, it is fog. If it's touching the surface, it's fog. The final type of clouds are the vertical ones. These are the ones that are developing on my vertical, and they are moving between my standard 6,500 feet all the way up to well above 22,000 feet in elevation on their set. Cumulus clouds can grow vertical. These guys are puffy, they're cotton-like. Sometimes I can think of them as one that will bring rain, but sometimes they're few and far between and they will not rain out on me. It actually kind of depends on what part of the atmosphere that cumulus cloud formed in. If it starts to grow and I'm watching it grow vertical, I call it a cumulus congestus. God bless you, right? It's a joke, it sounds like. It sounds like it's a sickness. But it just means that it's formulating, right? It's taking shape. And then finally, cumulus nimbus clouds. Cumulus nimbus clouds are very, very large. They're vertical. They're known as the wall cloud. And because of their vertical nature, we'll also see separation in ionic particles, which creates variations in electromagnetism, which can create lightning. So we can think of cumulus nimbus clouds as thunderstorm clouds, or at least the potential to be a thunderstorm cloud, if I get enough separation in electrical charge. And here's that nice little picture that gives you a little bit about those cloud variations. So now into some of my weird clouds. We'll start with the lenticular, like a lens. Lenticular clouds are lens-shaped clouds. They actually often form over like mountain ranges, and it has to do with the shape of the mountain range. It creates like a hood on top. So Mount Hood actually gets a cloud-like hood on top of it. And sometimes when the sun is setting, the light can come up just right on those lenticular clouds, and they actually will shine in that mackerel sky form. And it makes it look almost like a space saucer. So many a flying saucer has been mistaken as, but it's actually a lenticular cloud. And there you go. Here's that hood shape for a lenticular cloud. Pleius clouds are little streak clouds. They're blow-off clouds. This has to do with air currents pulling moisture away from the atmosphere. And it actually will happen on top of a cumulus nimbus cloud. So I'll see a huge cumulus nimbus cloud. And then at the top of the cumulus nimbus cloud, air current will actually pull away some of the moisture and create these streaky things at the top of the atmosphere. And if the sun, once again, is hitting them right, they'll actually shine like a rainbow because they're little cirrus clouds. And they look kind of like Pleiades is coming in for a landing, right? The guy with the little wing shoes like Nike was coming in for a landing, and he left little vroom shapes as he came in. And so Pleius clouds, right? So they're these cute little wisp clouds. Mammatus clouds. Mammatus clouds are lower altitude cumuliforms, so they're cumulus-style clouds, but they actually are moving on a vertical sinking-like motion. So they're getting pulled down towards the surface of the Earth. They are wet, and they also look like they're writhing because while they're falling towards the surface of the Earth, so they're dropping in altitude, the moisture is actually evaporating back up. So it's evaporating as it's dropping. So it's pulling it away because I can't see it once it goes from its liquid form back into gas. So it looks like it's dropping down or writhing, but it's actually evaporating on itself. So it creates this kind of like wavy motion, mammatus clouds. And they have a very interesting history. They kind of look like cow's udders, so mammatus, right, on its set. Contrails are unnatural clouds. These are formed by things flying in the atmosphere, like a plane, leaving its exhaust. And if there's enough humidity up there, enough moisture, they will stick readily to the extra cumuliforms, so these extra condensation nuclei that happen to be up there, creating cloud or cloud streaks on the condensation nuclei of the exhaust from the planes. Narcissus clouds. Narcissus clouds are high altitude, incredibly high altitude wispy clouds. They're a form of, they look like a cirrus cloud, but they're actually much, much higher up than all that. And when the sunlight hits them at the end of the day, they will shine, just like in that mackerel sky. It has to do with the altitude and